Good afternoon, everyone. It is David Schlotthauer here, your weather enthusiast, and in this video, we are really keeping an eye on the Midwest as you all are getting prepared for a big snowstorm that could dump possibly 1 to 2 feet across portions of Nebraska, the Dakotas, including for Iowa, southern Minnesota, and Wisconsin, with a big severe weather event that could be possible for the Deep South by the middle of this week. Now, before I do get started, I do apologize if I haven't been uploading lately on this YouTube channel as far as live streaming goes. That is because we have just been getting hit and hit, storm after storm after storm. Country roads flooded here right now, a lot of urban flooding, street flooding, a lot of down power lines still from recent storms, landslides, mudslides, debris flows, very intense snowfall for the mountains. It's just been a disaster here as far as storms go, and I'm just hoping we could get some dry weather here, but it looks like we're going to continue with the parade of storms all the way through perhaps Wednesday this week before we finally start drying out. So it's going to be a little rough period here going through the middle of this week before drier weather returns. All right, so I hope you all understand that because I'm trying my best at keeping you all weather aware during the stormy weather that we're dealing with here back west. But you know where the stormy weather is going to head next? Well, it's going to be headed into the Midwest, the High Plains, the Great Lakes, and the Deep South and the Southeast. More intense rainfall, strong winds, severe weather are all anticipated with that snowfall. So let's take a look here at the latest Euro model for tomorrow morning. This is for January the 17th, 2023, and we can see what the map actually looks like. Take note of all these blue colors, that's light to moderate snowfall, and then in green, that's where you're seeing light to moderate rainfall, and then of course, when you get the pink colors, that's freezing rain. So that's kind of rain snow mix in a way, slushy snow, gravel, and other types of mixed precipitation. So going forward here, we can see our current system here on satellite that is moving into the Great Lakes. That's what the European model really illustrates pretty nicely. We have a cold front that is draped across the Ozarks here into the lower northeast, lower New England area. Into the Great Lakes, we're also talking about some light to moderate rainfall that is going to be moving over the Great Lakes. We're talking about light to moderate snowfall that is also anticipated. Let's go forward in time here for Wednesday morning because that's when the next system is going to be developing, and this one looks pretty intense. We're talking moderate to really heavy snowfall for Denver, Colorado. If you are in central Nebraska, the northern flank of this, because we're going to have colder air being or warmer air advection being thrown onto the cold side of the system. A lot of that moisture too is going to get flung into the backside, and so we're going to be continuing with some moderate to heavy snowfall, strong winds, maybe even a thunder snow or two possible in that area. This is going to continue all the way through Wednesday afternoon. Take note again, that cold air on the northern side, that's going to help again squeeze out a lot of that snowfall over Nebraska, over Iowa, moving into southern Minnesota, but more importantly, the biggest impact that a lot of people are going to be talking about on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even here on YouTube, will be the severe weather. Yes, there is going to be a severe weather setup with this, especially early on Wednesday. That's when we expect things to really kick up, especially from, say, central Missouri all the way southward here, where we have a pretty good chance of seeing severe weather. In fact, when we take a look here at the Storm Prediction Center, we can clearly illustrate with what they are calling for. Already a slight risk for severe weather for eastern Texas, for the Arklatex, Mislatex area, for central southern Arkansas, for central Alabama and western Alabama, central Mississippi, but much of the Louisiana area is where we are going to contend with that. This could get a little further north depending on exactly how the warm front lifts northward, but right now we are looking at a slight risk for severe weather with a 15% chance for the threat threat for severe weather. Right now, it doesn't look significant, but you might want to stay tuned to the Storm Prediction Center and on my YouTube channel for the latest updates on this, as things are going to be changing pretty quickly as far as the predictability. Does this go enhanced? Does this stay slight? We just don't know yet, but what we do know, we got severe weather coming up on Tuesday, mainly on a Wednesday time frame, maybe even into Thursday for the Southeast. So yeah, stay tuned for more updates on that. All right, what you definitely need to stay up to date is with this winter storm. Look at that heavy snowfall on the European model for January the 18th for Wednesday afternoon. Yes, it's not about the severe weather for the deep south with tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail, but it is going to be about how much snowfall you're going to be seeing up there across Nebraska, the Dakotas, including for Colorado, and say portions of Wyoming, and Iowa and southern Minnesota, even including for Wisconsin. Take a look at this. By Wednesday evening and even into Thursday, yeah, that snow is going to be coming down pretty good. Even into central and northern Michigan, moderate to heavy snowfall. I mean, you just got done having a pretty horrific type of warming weather event for your area. Now you're going right back in to the winter side of things. I mean, this pattern is going like this. It's going all over the place, and it's going to stay that way for a while because we're transitioning into more of a wavy pattern. So there might be cold times, there might be some warm times, but that means what? Well, your weather gets more extreme, right? Because things want to balance out, and they have a hard time doing so when the jet stream's wavy. So that goes through on Thursday, Friday for the eastern half, like the eastern seaboard, the New England area of New York, as well as the Great Lakes. And then a break happens on the European model, but don't be too comfortable about this because the European model is stirring up another storm system. Let's go forward in time here. By the middle of next week, January 23rd and the 24th, we're looking at another high plains weather event that is going to develop. Maybe more severe weather down here because we got a trough right here that's going down here, and we got warm air advection trying to pull in like this. That is going to lead to this type of system. Very, very tense. I mean, we're talking 993 millibars, not super deep in a surface low standpoint, but you're going to have a lot of wind. You're going to have a lot of heavy snow dynamics in place. Very impressive system here. You can even take a look at the freezing line overall on this weather map. It really kind of digs down right here. So that's a very impressive trough with a lot of warm air advection out ahead of this, cold air advection on the back side of this. And again, these things want to mix up and balance out, but when they do, it can be a very big problem for the Great Lakes with heavy snow, severe weather for the deep south and the southeast, and that continues to be a big problem by the time we go into Wednesday. But again, that's 8 to 10 days away. Don't freak out. Don't fret over it yet because these models are going to change. In fact, a great example is the 0Z run from yesterday. Whoa, where is a snowstorm, you may be asking. But wait a second. There's a snowstorm on the latest model, so there's a lot of variability. So just take this with a grain of salt. All right, but there is some impetus on the global models that we gotta watch something. There's a couple of systems out there. So the first one, of course, on the GFS model, like we're seeing here, that was European. Now we're looking at the US GFS. And yes, lots of rain and severe weather for the deep south, heavy snowfall again for the central and northern plains with that warm air advection and moisture being thrown onto the cold side of the system. That is going to really cause a lot of moisture to be squeezed out due to baroclinic ascent, and that's going to lead to a lot of heavy snowfall that's going to come down. Right now, there is no threat of freezing rain at this point. Okay, it's all only from rain to snow kind of deal. As long as that warmer air does not overtake the colder air, we should be fine. All right, that continues all the way into Friday. A nice good break, a little breather, or a little a reprieve before the bigger system sets up here. This is not too bad here by the early part of January 21st and the 22nd of 2023. But there's another system out there, again, what the GFS and the European model are having a big disagreement for is the timing. The European model already explodes a massive winter storm over here in the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest, while the GFS is a lot slower of doing that. So there's a lot of variability. But again, if this happens, this would be a system that you have not seen in quite some time, at least since Christmas Eve. Remember that blizzard, that super big blizzard? It was massive, right? This is not going to be like that, only with rain, but it's a very dynamic system. You got very low pressure here of 988 millibars, a little bit of snow on the northern side, strong pressure gradients, strong winds are anticipated with that system. But again, this is 8 to 10 days out. Don't fret over it, right? Because there's a lot of variability in the models. I've said that many times already in this video, and you're probably saying, okay, we get it, David. All right, I know you get it because you might want to understand this map right here that you're seeing here on the European model for the Deep South. We're talking with this first system. Okay, this is 24-hour rain amounts. There could be a narrow corridor all the way from eastern Texas into northern Louisiana, southeastern Arkansas, northwestern portion there of Mississippi, central and western Tennessee could get as much as 2 inches of rainfall in a 24-hour period. That's going to lead to more renewed flood concerns, maybe more landslides and steeper terrain. So keep that in mind if you're out and about here. Watch for flooded roadways. Yep, you've had a lot of rain, just like we have had a lot of rain here in California, just not as much as California standards, right? So off towards the north, that's going to be in the form of snowfall, which we'll take a look at right now on the European model. You can see the first system here gonna bring in quite a bit of the amount of snowfall. In fact, we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 feet of snowfall over Nebraska, over Colorado, the Four Corners with that system, maybe 5 to 8 inches of snowfall in portions of central and southern Minnesota, as well as, say, Wisconsin. That's where you're going to be seeing lesser amounts according to the latest global models. Some of the other ensembles are agreeing with that. So a lot of this moisture is going to be really favored right in here where I have this circled in black. So make sure you're prepared to shovel snow because you're going to want to. The GFS not going by with the European model. These two models have not really agreed in recent weeks for some reason. I hope they could either upgrade the GFS or they could fix the European model. Either way, I don't know. There's some disagreement here in about 3 days. We're looking at maybe 1 to 2 feet here on the GFS model versus the European model, a little more than maybe 1 to 2 feet, more like 1.5 feet to close to 3 feet in some of the higher elevations, with the GFS being a little lesser on that. So just kind of an overview why we're going to see this system. So right now the system is over California. That brought us some heavy rainfall, strong winds last night, renewed flood concerns, debris flows, mud, rock, and landslides. It's just been very rough here. Several feet, up to almost 10 feet of snow for the higher elevations, just let alone in the last 3 to 5 days. So this is the disturbance that we're tracking very closely. It is going to eject off the New Mexico plateau by the time we go into Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Out ahead of this, we have a lot of baroclinic ascent here, a lot of frontogenetic forcing out ahead of the baroclinic zone. So that's going to lead to a lot of shear, a lot of wind increase in the mid-levels. And when we go forward, we can see there is our energy well noted on the Euro model for the 60-hour period for Wednesday afternoon. And again, out ahead of this, we are going to be looking at some prefrontal convection that might spawn tornadoes. Some of them could be strong perhaps and long tracked. On top of that, we could be looking at large hail and damaging winds. Now the strong tornado side of things, I'm going a little over the top. People are going to tell me that, all right? But based on what I see, there's a lot of shear on this system that there is a little bit increasing confidence we might see at least one significant tornado, at least one. All right, we're not going to see a barrage of them, just maybe one strong NATO out there out of the system. All right, so as far as the setup goes, self-explanatory, we got 18,000 foot level winds. This is the mid to upper level wind forecast, and we can see southwest southwesterly flow here aloft between about 90 to 100 knots. When we go to a lower portion of the atmosphere down to 5,000 feet, we can still see again a lot of speed here between the 1 to 3 kilometer level out of the southwesterly direction, with winds again between 50 to 60 knots. It turns more directional when you get down to the surface here, with more southerlies right there between 20 to 30 miles an hour. So we could see some low-level spin-ups, low-level mesovortexes within discrete storms, prefrontal convection that forms out ahead of the confluence zone right here. We can see some confluence lines that may focus some of the tornado potential right in this area, especially by the time we go into mid-Wednesday, late Wednesday, into the afternoon hours with this event. So keep that in mind. The only good thing that we don't have is a lot of instability. As far as the European model goes, we have limited amounts of instability. When we take a look at the US GFS model, we have, again, modest to low amounts of instability between about 100 to maybe 400 joules per kilogram. It's going to come a lot about how much warmer air advection. There's going to be a lot of shear, a lot of lifting mechanism to go on with this system. So there's going to be a lot of energy that is going to be released. All right, so that's a look at your instability, your moisture transport, more like dew points, we should say. We can see there is your low pressure system. There is your an occluded, so the front is occluded right here. You got your cold front and dry line, and then you got your warm front up here. And out ahead of this, we got a lot of moisture advection that is going to be in place, with dew points in the mid to upper 60s, enough again for lower LCL heights, lower cloud bases that could give way to a few tornadoes. Some of them, again, could be a little significant, along to go with hail and strong winds with those systems, possibly reaching about 60 to 70 mile an hour damaging wind gusts with some of the storms in the deep south. And again, that is why the Storm Prediction Center, I have mentioned it once in this video, I'll mention again, that's why there's a slight risk for severe weather for day 3 for the Arklatex area. And again, this could get expanded. We could see a categorical upgrade to a level 3 out of 0 on the severe weather intensity scale, or the categorical scale, however you want to put it. So keep that in mind here. If you're in the deep south, it's another round of severe storms that are anticipated for your Wednesday. All right, but you can only do this if you do subscribe to the YouTube channel for more updates on this winter storm, and also more that could be coming by the early to the middle part of next week. That's, again, the 24th through the 28th and the 29th through perhaps the end of January, where we could be looking at more winter storms and severe weather, including another pattern change for the west. So there's a lot just going on with the weather these days, and you could only do that if you subscribe, share, and like the video, and also leave a comment in the section, and check my Facebook out, Twitter, Instagram. All of those are in the description below this video. So anyways, thank you all for tuning in, and I appreciate your time that you take out of your day to watch these videos, as I do my best at providing the best weather content that I can for you all here on YouTube. But anyways, that's going to do with this video. Share, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back with you more very soon with more weather updates.